Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mia Hall. You are tuned into blackenterprise.com. I am here with author, husband, father, real estate mogul, and so much more, Jemal King. Jemal King, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thank you for having me, Mia. I really appreciate this. This is great. I was just telling you, this is actually my first interview about the book, so I'm excited.
All right, awesome. And we are very excited about your first book too, right?
Yes, first book. Yeah, first of many. Let's say
First
that.
many. Yes. Okay. So let's start, with, you have on your shirt, 9 to 5 millionaire. I know that you got that nickname from your friends at ET and Associates. So why don't you tell us where the name 9 to 5 millionaire came from? Let's just.
Actually, the name actually came from one person, and that one person is CJ. And so, Mia, when I used to go to the conferences all the time. So I was what you call ETA fanatic. I was going to every single conference they had. And I mean, it was crazy because I've been doing this, ever since like 2014. I went to the first conference ETA ever had. And, CJ, ET, and Carl and them, they used to always see me in the audience. And I would be right in the front, right? I would always be in the front. I would bring people with me. And it was like after the third conference, they was just like, man, we see you everywhere in every single state. It's like, where you from? And I was like, I'm from Chicago. And then they were like, what do you do for a living? That question always come up next, right? People want to know what you do for a living because that kind of says, your money status, how you can afford to come to all these conferences, sit in the front VIP. And then CJ said, like, what you do for a living? I told him, I was like, oh man, I'm a police officer. And then he was like a real police officer, like a police. I was like, yeah, I'm a police officer. And then he was like, oh, okay. And then he was just like, and then he saw me at another conference and he was like, man, hold on, man. Like Chicago police must really be paying y'all really well, bro, because I'm seeing you VIP everywhere. And then it wasn't until CJ it was actually a conference in Miami that they had. It was a marriage conference. And I brought my wife. I brought like several other couples. And at that point, I knew CJ's cousin, her and her husband. I invited them to come out with us. I rented out this yacht in Miami. And I had the yacht tickets. Yeah, Morgan. Yeah. Morgan was there.
Yeah, I know Morgan.
Yeah, all right. So I met with Zir and Morgan, and I actually invited them out to to this little all day party, let's say, on the yacht. And we all came to the conference late, to the actual marriage conference. We came late. And CJ just seen all of us rolling in, and he was looking, and of course, he was just like, he asked Morgan, he was like, man, where was y'all at? And then she was like, oh, Jemal, the police officer? He was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, we was on his yacht, and we was just partying all day. And then CJ was just like, all right, bro. Now, my cousin telling me you got a yacht. Y'all was just kicking it all day. He's like, bro, you got to tell me. He's like, I'm coming to Chicago. I want to sit down with you and talk. And then at that point, that's when he found out that, yeah, the police department was my job. That was my 9 to 5. But then it was at that dinner where he found out that I own a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. I own a chain of childcare centers with my wife. We own, me and my brother, we actually own one of the largest growing security companies in Illinois. And then, and then he was just like, okay, cool. So you own all of these multi-million-dollar businesses and you still have a 9 to 5. And then I was like, yeah. I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, yeah, I still have a 9 to 5. And then he was like, man, you like the 9 to 5 millionaire. And sure enough, that's just, and me and CJ both, he's like, when he said 9 to 5 millionaire, even ET was in the background and he was like, ooh. 9 to 5 millionaire. And then after that, it just took off. And and then now we just been committed to exposing just everyone in the world, to this 9 to 5 millionaire culture. I think to say 9 to 5 millionaire, that's like an oxymoron. Most of the people that work a 9 to 5, not millionaires, and most of the people that's millionaires don't work a 9 to 5. And so I believe that I'm the bridge, I'm the conduit to connect people together and show people that it's possible to live both lives.
I love that. Yes. Thank you for that, because a lot of people want to know, you know what I mean? That's awesome. So let us know how you got started. I know that, I know your background, but we definitely want the people to know. I know you had football dreams, right? You had dreams of becoming a football player. You saw your friend. Well, tell us how you got started on the path of real estate from your 9 to 5, because you had the 9 to 5 first and then you did real estate, right?
Yeah, yep, yep. So
Okay.
I had the 9 to 5. Yeah, I had the 9 to 5 by default. So I didn't really want to have a 9 to 5. And just to give you that little, just to give the listeners a little backstory, I had ever since I was 8 years old, I declared that I was going to be a millionaire. I mean, I used to watch before MTV Cribs came on. I used to watch Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. I used to watch people like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. I used to see these people. They used to have the nice jewelry. And I used to say, man, I want to be a millionaire. I want to have that kind of life. It was like every time I looked at a person on TV, they just used to smile all the time. They just seemed happy. But then in my community, I used to always see people frowning.
Mm.
People used to hate their jobs. But I was like, why are you working this job if you hate it so much? And it wasn't because they wanted to, it was because they had to. And so, but I saw these millionaires on TV and they just seemed like they was just living this perfect life. The kids was just looking up to the parents and just like, Daddy, I love you so much. And the father was just, happy and doing everything for the kids. And I just said, man, I really want this kind of life. And I started for myself at 8 years old. And it was just crazy because I declared, like, my dad, all right, so my dad, he used to ask each one of them. So I have two sisters and I have a brother. And at a young age, my parents used to always ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? They used to always ingrain that in us, just ask us. And it was this one time in particular, my dad actually pulled out his camcorder. And, you notice I said camcorder. I don't know how old you are, but, you know what I'm saying? Remember back in the day, we used to have to hold the camcorder on the shoulder. And he asked, he put us all in order. And he asked my oldest sister, her name is Carla. And he asked her, he's like, Carla, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she was like, Dad, I want to be a school teacher. And she literally looked in the camera. We still got this video. She looked in the camera and said, I want to be a school teacher. And Mia, do you not know that to this day right now, my sister is a school teacher in Texas?
Mm.
She is a school teacher in Texas. My brother was next in line. And I promise you, this was like a magical day. It was something going on in the atmosphere because, he asked my brother, he's like, Tommy, and he's junior, right? He's named after my dad. And he's like, what do you want to be, son? And of course, my dad kind of, was kind of like looking at it. And I think my dad was even in his police uniform. He was like, like, what you want to be? And my brother, being my brother, he's still that same way. He's a pleaser. My brother was like, he looked at him and he was like, Dad, I want to be a cop just like you. And my dad was a sergeant at the time, right? And my dad was just sitting back smiling. My dad, I think Mia had a little tear in his eye. And he was just, his chest was out. And he was like, my dad was like, son, that's a great profession. Like, we need police officers out here. We need police officers in the Black community, people that's going to do good. And, to this day, my brother is a sergeant with the Illinois State Police. Wow. Yeah, and then I was next in line. Then I had a little sister, but my little sister, she was sitting on my dad's lap, and she was tugging away. I want to go. And so my dad was like, okay, baby girl. He's like, hold on, Jemal. And he went to her and asked her, and then and her name is Christy. And my little sister said, Dad, I want to be a teacher just like Carla.
Wow.
And right now, to this day, my little sister is a principal.
Wow.
In Houston, Texas. Now I told you it was something magical happening in the air, right? Because everybody getting their dreams, right? Everybody is proclaiming what it is they want to be in life. And it was my turn. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not the Jemal that you see now. I'm not, I was that bad kid. I was the one that just, if everybody was going right, I was going left. Everybody going up, I'm going down. And, and it got my turn. And my dad was like, all right. He kind of pointed to everybody and said what it is they said they want to be. And then he got to me and he's like, all right, son, this is kind of easy. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember just looking at my dad, Mia, and I remember saying, I want to be a millionaire. Mm-hmm. And I blew my dad away, right? Mm-hmm. And my brothers and sisters was looking at me all mad and confused. And, they just like, why you can't be simple and say you want a job, doing this? And it was something in me at a very young age where I said I wanted to be a millionaire. And then my dad kind of, by the question he asked next, it kind of sparked something in my head where he said, okay, son, a millionaire. All right, cool. That's your destination in life. And I was the only one he asked this question to. Everybody. He asked me, though, all right, you say millionaire. How are you going to get there? What vehicle are you going to choose to get you to your millions? And that's when I decided to play football because that's the only exposure that I've had of millionaires was people that play professional sports. And so at that point, that's when I worked hard. I played football in high school, became one of the best in the state of Illinois, went on to college, and I got right to the front doorstep. I'm talking about I was a team captain. I was killing it on the football field. I talked like I, was supposed to go to the NFL. Everything about me said NFL. Even my coaches were saying, King, hey, every single game, King, is another chance for you to get to the NFL. So it was just ingrained in me. Even my family, people was just saying, King, Jamal gonna make it to the NFL. And I got right to the doorstep. Mia, I got right to the doorstep, right to the front door. I was touching the door of success. I know they say that 1%. I knew that 1% made it to the NFL, but I was at 1%. I was going to be that 1%. And I got right to the front doorstep of success. And it got taken away from me. And I was suffering from what 99% of athletes suffer from. I was suffering from PTSD, what I call post-traumatic sports disorder. Post-traumatic sports disorder. And that's where you look like you're supposed to make it. You talk like you're supposed to make it. Everybody, all your relatives, my grandmother, Mia, used to be like, when I saw my grandma ain't know nothing about sports, but every time I go over grandma's house, she'll be like, hey, baby, how that football going? You ready? And she couldn't even say NFL. She like, you ready for the FNL? She got the numbers all mixed up and the letters all mixed up. But everybody in my community kind of was just, they associated football, Jemal with football. And so I was no longer, like I lost my identity at that point. And so I was no longer Jemal, Jemal King. I was Jemal the football player. I was there go Jemal the football player. That's it. I didn't even know my last name no more. My last name was football. And so, and so at that point, I went to the family business and I didn't know anything else to do. The only exposure I had was being a cop. And then, but I didn't let that stop what my destination was, right? I thought back to what Ed said at a young age, right? So the destination still stayed the same for me, right? The destination was always to become a millionaire. I realized that football was just another vehicle to get me to my destination. I realized that. And so I said, okay, why does my destination have to change just because the vehicle stopped working for me? And so just because football, the NFL didn't work for me does not mean that the destination has to change now. I just have to find another vehicle. And true, the police department is not the Lamborghini like the NFL would have been. The police department is probably like the Toyota Camry, but it's reliable. It's going to start up every single day.
Okay.
It's going to still get you to where you got to go to, rain, sleet, snow, or shine. It's going to still get there. And that's exactly what I did. I took on the police, but then at the same time, I still kept the mindset. I still kept the destination in mind to get to my millions. And so a friend of mine who was a teammate of mine, his uncle was a big time real estate investor. And, he was investing in real estate in Chicago, which I didn't know, right? My friend, he played football with me. He was from Detroit. And he came to Chicago one time and he was like, hey, Jemal, let's go visit my uncle's house. He was in town. He's like, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago. I want to go visit my uncle's house. And he told me where his uncle lived. And I was like, no, man, that's the hood. That's not, I was like, that part of Chicago is the hood. And he's like, no, man, they really fixing it up. They revitalizing the area. And he's like, bro, you should really come. I went with them. And we were standing outside on the porch, and I remember seeing the projects not too far. And I was just sitting back like, oh, no, this is not. And sure enough, when he opened up that front door, it did something to me. I'm talking about I saw like 15-foot ceilings, and I just seen just beautiful. I'm talking about this house was probably about, I want to say at least 10,000 square feet, and it was just a mansion. And his uncle was sitting there. He had all these papers on his desk. And I remember his uncle, I didn't see him looking like the police officer look. I seen him living different. And I remember, and I asked him, I was like, what do you do for a living? And then he was like, oh, I'm a real estate investor. And I was like, real estate investor? And then all of a sudden, hey, Mia, the light bulb went off. And I was like, real estate? Yeah. And then what happened was I saw instantly, when he told me real estate investor, I saw another vehicle, right? And at that point, that's when, I went and he gave me the information to a real estate broker. And at that point, that's when I started to invest in real estate. And I had other things happen. I had a buddy of mine who played in the NFL, and I went to visit him. And, and I got exposed to how the the 1% live, right? My buddy,
Right.
he went from having a scholarship to becoming a multimillionaire. And it
Mm.
was just something about how he was living his life, how he was taking care of his family, how he was doing for them. And it was something that I wanted from that, right? And that's the thing with me, I go for exposure, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I want people to always know, that exposure, I always say your level of exposure determines your level of success. What are you
Mm.
being exposed to? And I think a lot of times in our community, we just are exposed to the things that's in our surroundings. And so that's why we do the exact same thing that everybody else is doing. And so that's why I'm a big proponent of exposure. You got to step outside of your community, and get this exposure. So then it's something that happens when you get exposure. It's just something where it just don't sit right inside of you no more. You just gotta you gotta go get it. Once you've been exposed to something and you go back home, you never go back home the same.
Mm.
And I think that's what happened to me in life. It's been several times when I've been just hitting my stomach, just knocked out with exposure. And I just constantly keep changing based off of that exposure. And so
Mm.
I went and I got my first property, and it was crazy because that first property was making me more money than what I was making on my police job.
Wow.
And so,
Already.
yeah, already that first property,
At
the
first,
first
one
property,
time.
the first property, that's just show you what exposure puts you into the front of the line. I like to say
Mm. Mm-hmm.
it takes away years and years and years of trying to figure it out. And it puts you right into the front of the line just by the guidance of this person. He introduced me to a real estate broker that he used. They went and showed me exactly the blueprint. And I went from making $1,200 every 2 weeks as a police officer to netting $3,000 a month off of my first property.
Wow. Wow. Was it a multi-unit? I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
I've
it
heard
was
this described. Okay.
It was a
Your first
multi-unit. It was
property
a
is a multi-unit.
4-unit.
Okay.
Yeah, my first property was a 4-unit apartment building. I mean, it had 4 apartments to it, right?
Nice.
Each apartment was bringing in $1,000 a month net cash flow.
Mhm.
I bought it for $125,000. I had to only do $25,000 worth of improvements to it, and at that point, I was into it for $150,000. And my
Mm.
mortgage was nothing but like a little bit over $1,000. And so I was
Mm.
bringing in $4,000 gross cash flow every single month. After I paid my mortgage, I was netting $3,000 a month. I couldn't believe it. I was only
Mhm.
22 years old. And
Wow.
so at that point, you could imagine I was on the fast track to getting back to what my dream was.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I mean, amazing. And of course, you know what I mean? Like I can just, go from there, from there, from there. But I don't want to give away the whole book. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, right, right, right.
So tell me, in the book, right? What are people going to get? Because, you have so many stories, right? I mean,
Mhm.
even being a police officer, you know what I mean? Like you didn't have just a regular 9 to 5, you know what I mean? Like they call you 9 to 5, but we know a police officer is probably one of the hardest professions, if not the hardest profession, you know what I mean, in the country.
Yeah.
So what do we see, what give us like a preview of, what people will get when they walk through the book, and even your process in writing the book. I mean, it's your first book, so
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that's a lot,
It
but
was,
let us know.
yeah. I took on the book almost like I would renovate a property. So as you
Okay.
know, I've renovated over hundreds and hundreds of properties. And what I do every time I renovate a property, I got to come up with the vision of the property, right? And then I got to come up with the blueprints of it. And then you break it down section by section. And in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I was frustrated. But then once I took it back to real estate, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then of course I had the help of CJ, to help me out a little bit, just a little bit. So
Get some
yeah,
nudges.
but what you're gonna get in the book is you're gonna take a ride with me, right? You're gonna
Okay.
literally take a ride through my life, and you're gonna see just about how you can have something planned in your life, and you can get right to the doorstep of that, and then disappointment takes place. But
Mm.
I think a lot of times in life, we feel like that when something doesn't happen the way we planned on it, that our life is over with. And this book is nothing more but showing you that it's just the beginning. It's not the end. It's literally just the beginning. And for every door that's shut, 2 more opens up. It's up to you. So it's high and it's low, right? It's showing you how I started off, and then how I was accomplishing everything, and then all of a sudden how everything got taken away, like the NFL. And then my low point was joining the police department. And then I said, you know what? I felt a little bit of pride because I was doing what my brother, my father, my mother, were doing. They were all police officers. And then how I got into a shooting, where somebody actually shot at me. I didn't even pull out my gun, so I don't even like to say a shooting, and how I almost lost my life. And then not only did I almost lose my life twice, and they hear about that in the book, but how I almost lost my job at the same time, and how I was just sitting back like most Americans, right? We think that, job security has job security to it. So the same way how 9 to 5 million is an oxymoron, job security is even a bigger oxymoron. There's no such thing as job security. You're only as secure as your job make you. And so, and I found this out. I found all of this out at a young age, at a young time period in my police career. I was only like 2 months in when the shooting actually took place. And like I said, that night, I will never forget. I called that night my wake-up call, because that was the call that I got that would change my life forever. And at that point, I was done with the mindset of, I'm going to let this 9 to 5 take care of me for the rest of my life. But what I'm showing the reader is that I wasn't finished. I wasn't finished with the job. I wasn't silly enough to just say, hey, I quit today, which, don't get me wrong, most people probably would have quit. After those bullets started just raining out like that, most people would have quit. But I understood that my mind was fixed on the destination in life. And the destination was to be a multi-millionaire. But it wasn't really so that I could have fancy cars, a big house. It was so that I could take care of generations to come. It was so that I could literally change the trajectory of my family. And so my want of becoming a millionaire wasn't selfish. It was so that I could take care. It was so that my children would never have to go through what I went through. I still had that image of wanting everybody over my house and just smiling and, and just taking care of everybody. That image that I saw, everybody was just happy, where the kids is just, looking at, their father with pride, and I'm looking back at them and, and everything was just good. Plaid. I always had an image of my children wearing plaid outfits to school. That image just didn't come from nowhere, though. It came from when I got the exposure from my friend. And so, and it's crazy because everything that I saw, right? Everything that I saw that day when I went and visited my friend in the NFL, I now have, I now have. So this book is just about, it's about getting that exposure. It's about how to get the exposure. It's about the practical steps to take in life to keep going. It's about overcoming disappointment. It's about, it's just about coming up with a plan and a vision for your life. It's about having faith, having crazy faith throughout life. And like I said, I don't want to tell all the stories, but
no, they got to buy the book.
It's not just a book. It's not just an autobiography about myself. It's literally step by step, how to make your 9 to 5 work for you. How to get out of life. Matter of fact, it's about how to identify. One big issue that I have and that the book kind of breaks down is that most people in life, they have made their jobs the destination, right? That's why they go to work and they're mad every time they go to work. Yeah. I once saw that there's more heart attacks on Monday than any other day of the week. There's more heart attacks on Monday. Why is that? It's because you dreading going to work. You're dreading, I used to see people at my job just literally, they were like walking zombies. But they would go to work every single day and they would just eat the same food. They would say the same things. It was like, it got to the point where I used to watch people and I would start writing down like people's schedules, like what they're doing. People would go, stop. You'll be talking. I'll be like, okay, cool. In the next 5 minutes, my partner about to say he need to get a cup of coffee. And sure enough, like clockwork, he'd be like, Jemal. And I'm playing, pretending like I don't know what he's going to say. And I think I want to get a cup of coffee. And then after he got the cup of coffee, it was always like an hour later, he would go light up a cigarette and smoke the cigarette. He was doing this for like 10 years. And I was just like, man, it's almost like we're in a movie where it's just like, it's nothing different. And the only reason why, he was doing this because he didn't have anything else set for himself. He didn't have any other vision. Like he made this job the final destination. And so once you make your job, so your job is nothing more than the vehicle to get you to your final destination. And that's what this book actually breaks down. It shows people that there's so much more to life. There's so much more inside of you. You are not your job title. You know, at one point I thought that I was Jemal, the football player. That's all I identified myself with, was a football player. But it wasn't until I started realizing that football was a vehicle. I don't know what kind of car you drive, but whatever that car name is, and I don't care if it's a Lamborghini, I don't care if it's a Porsche or whatever, you are not your car, and your car is not you. Your car is only designed to take you to where you want to go in life. And so that's what this book is showing people. Like, you know, there's so much more. There's so many other places for you to go to in life. But first thing you got to do is you got to write out what it is that you want. And that's something I always ask people. What do you want? Like, what do you want in life? And I found out that 99% of people don't know what they want in life. They don't know. And that's called that joyriding through life. When you just don't have a clue where you want to go. So if your job is your vehicle and you don't have a clue where you want to go through life, you spend 10, 20, 30 years just joyriding through life without a purpose. You have no purpose. And that's why all of a sudden now you turn 65 years old and now it's time for you to retire and you just don't have a clue what to do. You're not prepared for retirement because you never set a destination. You never work towards that location in life that you're trying to get to. But when you understand where you're going in life, well, oh my God, when you understand where you're going in life, then every single day you come to work with a whole nother purpose. So when I was a police officer, I was just coming to work smiling every single day while everybody else was looking mad. And the reason why I was smiling, because I knew that this wasn't the final destination for me. I knew that with every single check they were giving me, I was investing it into real estate. And then I knew that that vehicle, real estate now, would take me somewhere else. And the money I was getting from real estate, I put that into the daycare centers. And then with the money from the daycare centers, I put that into the security company. I was building my portfolio. I was building my life. And so everything that I did just opened up a door to something else.
Wow, I'm glad that you mentioned your other businesses because, of course, you know what I mean. Black Enterprise, they do want to know about your businesses. You know, I thank you for the word because you know you preaching good, you know, over here. But yeah, I mean, shoot, with this mindset, you were not only able to come out of your 9 to 5, not come out of because you were still in it, but you know, come off your 9 to 5, you know, whenever you were working, and you know, in between time, and you know, on your breaks, you know, you were able to manage your real estate portfolio. But then, you know, I know that you and your wife Camille, right, started the daycare centers and then the security company. Can you just talk like a little bit about like, okay, so from the real estate, how did you get into the childcare centers, and then you got the security company, and then is there another business after that? Because I know it says 4 multi-million-dollar companies on your bio, so I was like, let me just make sure that I'm getting like everything, I'm covering all the enterprises because you know you're embodying Black Enterprise right now.
Don't worry. Sometimes I forget myself. So I manage my multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. Right. I actually have a construction company. Right.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. That develop properties. And then we have the chain of daycare centers. All right. And then we have the security company. Right. And then now I have like all of my intellectual property. So I have the Make Real Estate Real online course, which teaches, it's the #1 real estate course in the country right now, right? And so it teaches people how to transition from their 9 to 5 into, so it's not just enough for me to say, hey, you need to find something to do, another vehicle outside of your 9 to 5, right? I gave people the blueprint. I actually showed them step by step and Make Real Estate Real on how I did it, how I had a purpose for every property that I purchased, right? And so I show people in the course, and now we have thousands of people all across the country and a few across, you know, in the world that's making real estate real for them. And so now that has become a multi-million-dollar business just within a year's time. And so, yeah, so I don't know how many businesses that is, but it's growing. It's growing by the day.
Multiple. Right. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So you definitely have a lot of enterprises. I will say, you know, since we're, you know, we keep on going, who were some of your biggest inspirations, you know, in business? Let's say, you know, in running your real estate company, I know it was your friend's uncle. In motivation, I know it was ET and, you know, and CJ. Anybody else that you look to that were entrepreneurs and, you know, kind of gave you either, you know, people that you follow or, you know, gave you like tips or tools to use for your business?
Yeah, it's crazy that you asked that question because there's not like one person if that makes sense, you know. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because in my community now, if you ask several people that's friends of mine that know me, they'll say me, right? They'll say probably Jamal, but there wasn't many people in my circle that was before me that I knew personally, right? I still remember when I first made over $1 million and I had to pay $245,000 to the IRS in 1 year.
Mm-mm. And this was
And
at 24, right? You became a
yeah, this is
millionaire?
about 24 years old. Yeah. And I remember when I had to pay that kind of money. And I remember you know, my dad, I call him, you know, Superman, right? My dad got an answer for everything. I'm talking about me. You ask my dad whatever. My dad could tell you things. He could tell you whatever's going on in other countries. He's just that. My dad is what you would call the neighborhood wise man, right? Everybody
Okay.
would come to him to ask questions. And I remember going to my dad, and I remember saying, "Dad," and I was like, "Man, I got to ask you a question." And I was sweating. He's like, "You all right, son?" And I was like, "Man," I said, "Dad, I made $1 million last year," and I was like, "I got to pay over $240,000 in taxes." And I was like, you know, and I was investing the money, right? So I didn't have the cash in the bank because I was reinvested in more real estate, and I had to pay over $240,000 in taxes. And my dad was like, he's like, "You made $240,000?" And I said, No. I made over $1 million. I have to pay $240,000 to the IRS. What should I do?" My dad was blown away. I think he was
Wow.
seeing me buy properties. He heard about me buying properties, but he had no clue. So he was like, "Son, you're on your own on this one." That was the first time in my
Mm,
life I ever heard my dad couldn't answer a question. And
mm,
so what I did, I would go and just start researching stuff. It got to the point, even with the daycare centers, Camille and I would go to other daycares and we would like knock on the door. We had my oldest daughter now, but we had her as a baby, and we would go to daycare centers and we would literally act like we was going to enroll our daughter in a daycare center, and we would just be snapping pictures. I would walk around my phone and I would just be snapping pictures on how they set up their daycare. Some people, you know, we would actually ask and say, "Hey, can you help us out?" Some people would tell us to get out of here. Um, you know, even with the security company, I learned security from the police officers. So it's crazy. The teachers that
mm,
we actually hired in daycare taught us really childcare. And the
mm.
police officers that work security were the ones that actually teach us how to run a security business. You
Wow.
know, it's so crazy. Sometimes you don't have to have it all figured out. You know, you just have to, you know, have the vision. And so I always say that, you know, in business, my wife and I, we're visionaries where we say, "Hey, this is what we want to do." So we figure out most people, what I notice in business, they go after the information first. They try to become, you know, professional in that area first, and then they'll start a business. What I do is I start the business first. I have the vision, and then I believe that God is going to bring anything and everybody that I need to become successful. And so with that question, I would say that there's so many people. Is the person that don't even know me. Is the
Mm,
person that I was watching, you know, that never saw me before, but I was looking at them and I was seeing how they were running their business. And I was seeing how they set their business up from the outside. And I did exactly that. I just followed the blueprint. Like I said, I am a big proponent for exposure, you know. So
I love that. I love that. Amen. Amen. All right. Now, I want to go into some advice, right?
yep.
You have 3 children now, right?
Three and another three birth children. And then I have a cousin that I adopted, which is in the book. Yep, it's
Okay.
in the book.
Okay. Okay.
And so I
Nice.
like to say all the time I have four, but this guy, he looks grown. He looks bigger than me. He's like 6'3", 300 pounds. So yeah,
Okay.
so I say, but I
Say
have
4.
3 children that were birthed from Camille and I.
Right. And so what I wanted to know is like what kind of how do you teach your children about businesses and like, running their own businesses? Do you encourage them or, like what do you do with your children and like advice that you have for, parents that want to raise young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I believe that the best way to teach your children business is to take them to the business, show them the business. You know, children learn from experience, right? And I think most people learn from experience. And so I've never of course my children have heard about, you know, what daddy and mom does. They heard about it. A lot of people talk about it, but I literally take them. So when I'm renovating a property, I break it down to them. I let them come to the project before the project actually starts. And I let them actually see and come up with an idea with me. I'm asking them, what would you do to this property? I'm letting them develop the vision in their head. And a lot of times, you know, my daughter, especially my youngest daughter, she's like, oh, I would knock down this wall. I would do this and I would do that. And I always, my architect is in there and the other people, you know, my contractor's in there. And sometimes my architect don't agree. Oh, I wouldn't do that. And I'll be like, well, it's her vision. So it is. So I'm allowing her to create a vision. You know, the same thing with the daycare center. Our oldest daughter, you know, we let her go to the daycare and actually get a chance to see how mom runs the place. You know, we let her go there, sit in the office, in the main office, and actually, you know, get a chance to talk to the teachers and things like that. And so that way it's not really making them feel foreign to anything. You know, and so I believe, my nephews, and even with my daughters, you know, with the security company, we take them around to the different places that we have, and we let them get a chance to actually see, you know, hey, we own this, you know, my brother and I, we own this business, and this is how we run this business, because one day all of this is going to be theirs. And so I believe that the same way how I was exposed to that different kind of life, we exposing them to the business life. And then so for them, it's just second nature. You know, if you see my kids go to a property, I promise you, they look like they've been there before. They look like they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to break things down. They understand the whole thing with renovating the property from start to finish.
Awesome. Okay, well then, so that's for your children. Now, what would you do for somebody who is, you know, looking to, because, you know, I think a lot of people hear, you know, oh, you should invest in real estate, you should invest in real estate, but they're, you know, scared to take the first step. You know, other than getting the course, Make Real Estate Real, what would be your advice for first time real estate investors who are like, you know, totally new to it, they're like, I just want to get into it?
Yeah, the first thing I usually tell people all the time is that, like, I don't just purchase properties to purchase properties, right? Every single property that I have a purpose for it. And so I teach new investors to have a purpose for every property you purchase. That is so important. Don't just buy real estate to buy real estate. Don't just do it. I see a lot of people fail. You know, I teach people, you know, the purpose is what's going to drive you to success. And then also the numbers never lie, you know. And so what I teach a lot of my real estate investors is to, you know, especially if you're a newbie getting in real estate, if you're young, I always tell people about house hacking. That is the absolute best way to start off, you know, where you are eliminating your number one bill. You know, a person's number one bill is their rent or their mortgage. And so imagine now, Mia, if you had a job and you were able to live for free, meaning that, you know, for those that don't know about house hacking, if you, let's say it was a multi-unit building, and let's say that building has 4 units, like the first one I purchased, and let's say that if you lived in 1 unit, right, and the other 3 units now are covering the mortgage to the property, and you'll possibly net some money every single month in your pocket. So now you are eliminating your number one bill. So now imagine now how you're starting off in the green in your life. So I tell newlyweds, I love my younger people, my younger couples. I'm like, look, don't be in a rush to go fall for the American dream where you go get the big old house, the white picket fence, the car. You are automatically starting off in the red. You'll be working forever. But if you start off house hacking like this, then now you're able to have freedom. You know, and that's what it's all about. It's about having that freedom. And so, you know, when I started out, and this is, and somebody can do this, I teach this to my people all the time. When you come up with that purpose, so my wife and I, we have a building that takes care of our vacation expense, right? Every single month, this one property brings in, it nets over $2,000. So we have over $24,000 a year. I mean, this is when we first started out. Now we got, you know, a lot of them, but it was over $24,000 a year, right? That we had to go on vacations. It's that simple. Now imagine if I was just working my police job where I was only making $1,200 every 2 weeks. With all of the other bills I have, it might be, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000 to go on vacation. But instead, this one property was able to be our vacation building. And then now we were able to travel the world at a young age without even have to worry about working. We were looking for places to go. Hey, we got 24,000. Where can we go? You know, and then our children were born. Before they were born, we bought buildings that would cover their, we looked up what's the number one school in the state of Illinois. And then what we did, the number one private school. Then we went and said, okay, this school costs X amount of dollars a year. So we need to have X amount of properties in order to cover their tuition. So we were able to send our children to the best school that the state has to offer. Why? Because we had properties that took care of their school tuition. You know, we did that across the board. So with my Make Real Estate Real people, the first thing I have to do before we go deep into real estate, before I teach them the X's and O's of real estate, I'm like, why are you doing this? What is it that you want in life? you know, and then everybody writes out exactly how they want their life to look. And then I'm looking at their life, and a lot of people on there like, I know I want my kids to go to this school, but yet they go to the public school because it's free, because I can't afford it. I travel to Mississippi or to Florida every year, but I want to travel to Europe, but I can't go because it costs X amount. So now imagine how your life can change if you had a property to take care of that. So getting the real estate, me teaching you real estate is easy, but coming up with the purpose behind every single property you purchase is hard.
I think I want to get a property for me to be able to order from the left side of the menu. You know, I know that's your thing. So that's what I need my property for. You know, okay, no, for sure. Okay, so that being said too, I wanted to do a little game because I know that's your thing, eating off the left side of the menu. So I wanted you to tell me, this is going to be rapid fire questions, okay?
Okay, all right, let's go.
And none of these are really, well, a couple I think are off the left side of the menu, but we can start here. Okay.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Starbucks.
All right. Harold's or KFC?
Harold's.
All right. All right. Bulls or Bears for Chicago? Or you can't pick. Bulls?
Yeah, I'll say Bulls. Yeah, I'll say Bulls.
Okay. Are you more winter?
Bears are making me mad.
Okay. Are you more winter or summer?
Summer.
All right, me too. Beach or cabin?
Oh, I'm about that beach life. Yeah, I'm about that. I like to, you know what I'm saying? I'll be in the gym sometimes, so I got, you know.
Gotta keep it healthy. Okay. Cool. And then steak or salmon?
Oh, you know, I'm a salmon fanatic.
Okay.
Oh, but I am a steak fanatic. Please don't make me choose between them two.
Okay,
because I usually get both, and I usually get that. So, and that's what the left side of the menu. Oh yeah, that's what the left side of the menu. Yeah, I'm all about that Wagyu life.
Okay, cool. That was my last question. So that's good to end it on that. Thank you. All right, good stuff. So last things that you want to say, any final words that you want to give the people, the Black Enterprise readers, whether they're young, old, want to quit their 9-to-5 or want to keep their 9-to-5 and still become a millionaire. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I would definitely say, and especially like in the end of the book, it talks about crazy faith. And it's several times throughout the journey that I had to have crazy faith. And I like to say crazy faith because it wasn't the type of faith of like, what am I going to eat today? What am I going to do this? It's the type of crazy faith where when you seem like impossibilities, it's just stacked against you. And so what I would want the listener to know is that, all things really are possible. All things are possible. But the key point is to him who believes. The first step to anything that you do is belief. That's the main ingredient. I promise you, Mia, I didn't know anything about real estate when I first got started in real estate. I didn't know anything in the security company when we first started the security company. We didn't know anything about childcare when we first opened. I didn't know anything about a real estate course, but yet I was able to have the #1 real estate course. And 99, I didn't know anything about speaking. But yet I'm an international speaker, been on the stage with the #1 motivational speaker in the world, getting standing ovations. I promise you, I don't know anything about anything when I first get started. But the one thing that I have, and it's been constant in everything that I've done, is that I have belief. My belief level has never changed. And so I want whoever's listening, I need you to really hear me, hear my heart, that you can really do whatever it is that you want to do in life. That's not just some type of feel-good line. Like, that's for real. You really can have it. You got to fight for your dreams. You have to literally go after your dreams. You got to go after what you want in life. You can't sit here and become a victim of life. And I promise you, I've seen so many people, Mia, just die. I've seen so many people pass away without ever really getting a chance to live. They never got the opportunity to live in life. And I'm sitting here telling you, you got one life to live. And the key point is live. There's a lot of people that's breathing, but they're not living. They're not living. They're not experiencing the full experience of life. And I just want everybody to know that you really can. You really can have the type of life that you want. And not just for you, but for your children, for your grandchildren, for everybody that's connected to you. It's something that I say, and this is, in the book, that one man's obedience is connected to so many other people's destiny. One man's obedience, because of my belief, not because of my knowledge, because of my belief, I was able to bless thousands and thousands of people. I'm getting messages from people telling me, like, Jemal, like, I was on the brink of divorce, and because of your story, my marriage is saved. Jemal, I was on the brink of being homeless. I was on the brink of losing my job. I was on the brink of whatever it was. But because of your story, because you believed, and because you stepped out there and you did what you did, now I'm doing what I'm doing in life. So to the listener that's listening right now, one man's obedience is connected to so many other people's destiny. Who's waiting on you to do what you're supposed to do in life so that they can be who they're supposed to be in life? That's what I want the listener to know.
Well,
That's
y'all
what I
hear
want to
it.
know.
Y'all hear it, and y'all heard it here first, man. Thank you so much, Jemal, for coming on today. Make sure y'all check out the book, 9 to 5 Millionaire. Listen, it's an oxymoron, but this man made it happen, and he's teaching you how. He's teaching you how to do the same. So make sure you visit blackenterprise.com for this interview. And we'll see you next time. And follow Jemal at 9 to 5 Millionaire, right? Tell them where they could follow you.
That's right. That's right. You can follow me at 9 to 5 Millionaire. And you can actually get the book at www.9to5millionaire.com.
Bam, there it is. Boom.
And you can learn about real estate. And you can learn about real estate at makerealestatereal.com if you're looking for another vehicle. If you're looking, for another vehicle to take you and your family to another destination in life, real estate is definitely the vehicle that I chose that opened up the door to so many other vehicles. And so, makerealestatereal.com, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you. Yay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And cut. Okay. All right. That's the end of the recording. All right. Thank you. That was so fun. We took the whole hour. Once you were talking, I was like, we're going to take the whole hour. Well, what the heck?
I come from that ET camp. We can't shut up.
Yeah, man. It's all good, man. I'm definitely happy to, be a part of this journey, like I remember, I've been following them, of course, for a while too. And I remember, when you came into the fold and, started coming on the podcast, and I've been listening and things like that. So I was like, I'm very happy to do this interview. And I hope that this one will just like bring more and more and more. And then, we'll continue to spread the word. We'll continue to get people, like to that generational wealth. That's something else that I wanted to speak about too, because I know that's big. But I think we covered a lot. So.
We covered. But we just want to change the mindset and the culture in the community. It's I think that even growing up, I even remember times when I used to talk about money and things like that, and my parents kind of would be like, hey, don't talk about money at the dinner table. Why not?
Right.
Why can't you talk about, if we can't talk about it at the dinner table, well, when do we ever get a chance to all sit down and talk about it? And so I think that, we have to change the mindset in the community and have to, and that's where kids get exposed to money. Right. I never learned about a bank account inside the home, really. I never learned about, thousands of dollars, but the only thing we're exposed to is our parents getting up, going to work, coming home, pay bills, watching TV, maybe driving to Disney World, and then doing the cycle all over again. We're not exposed to all of this other stuff. And so I think this generation, though, is different. They have so much as far as at their fingertips, at their hands. And the way how I used to have to get exposure is, like I said, I had to know somebody who's doing it personally. But this generation now, they have so many different avenues just with social media and and different media sources like yourself, that it's just crazy now. It's just crazy. They should get exposure overload, just from what's out here. So so I'm interested. Like, I mean, it's crazy. So our responsibility now is to help guide this generation, and help guide them, because they're gonna accomplish amazing things. I just even look at my own children. And, at first, before CJ had me started, with ETA, I was on a path of just really just, create generational wealth for my family. I was big on generation, my family. But then it wasn't until really CJ put in me like, bro, like, generational wealth is for this generation. Like
Dang.
yeah, you're holding something. You holding some knowledge in your head. Like you literally can change the life. It's some husband working a job every single day. He's getting up every day, going to work, and he's struggling. Like he's literally struggling, trying to provide for his family. He's trying to provide for his wife. He's trying to provide for his children. He don't have the knowledge that you have. It's something inside of your head that can free that man. It's something inside of your head that can have his family look at him different. And he's just like, bro, you can't hold that to yourself. He's like, you got a responsibility, bro. God put it in you so that you could bring it to the world. And that's all he had to say. And that's all he had to say. And ever since then, Mia, that's my goal. That's my commitment. That's my life's purpose is to expose the world to unlimited possibilities. I want to be the image they see, where they say, man, I can do it. Now I see why God had me keep my job for 20 years. It's so that because they say, oh man, well he quit the police, he became a millionaire, so people would take away the fact that I was a cop. So really, I kept my job so that people can see that you can still keep your job and still own several multi-million-dollar businesses. You have no excuse. You have no excuse.
Right.
So when I hear somebody say, oh, quit your job, like this book goes against the norm. The norm tells you that you got to quit your job. Step out on faith. I used to hear E talking crazy like that. Step out on faith. You got to just step out there. No, you ain't got to, man. I got a wife. I got kids. I got bills. You know what I'm saying? I got real stuff, man. I got to take care of. I need assurance. I can't just step out there. Well, you may step out there. Just quit my job. Oh, you'll never make it in life if you don't quit your job. That's not true. And anybody that tells you that, anybody, and I welcome anybody on social media that say you'll never make it in life if you don't quit your job. Come on, because which one of my businesses do you want to compete? Do you want to compare? Which one? And so that's why I keep doing it over and over again. I keep doing it over and over again just to show them you ain't got to quit your job. It's not your job that's holding you back. It's you. It's you that's holding you back. And so I just want to be that symbol. And just show, I've been called a nigga. I was the only black kid in school, I was called a nigga so much I thought it was my nickname, as in kindergarten. I've had disappointment. Yep, I was just like every other black kid that thought that they was gonna make it to the league. That's the biggest lie that they teach us. Like I said, only 1% make it. What about the other 99%? But now what's crazy is I get people I coach people in the NFL. I coach people. I got people in the NFL. It's not a month that go by. I got somebody from the NFL reaching out to me every single month asking me to coach them in real estate. Like I said, it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours wouldn't even be enough for me to sit here and tell you my story. It wouldn't even be enough, to show you where I came from and even more so where I'm going in life. And why am I doing this right now? And I'm doing this and I want to be a symbol. There's too many rappers. There's too many gangsters. There's too many of the wrong people. There's too many guys that's out here that don't love their wives, that's not taking care of their children, that's in the spotlight and people are following and people are saying, hey, I want to be like him because he live in a certain kind of way. Nah, I want to show you the same way that you can have a 9 to 5 and still become a multimillionaire. You can have a wife from high school and still, still be the man. You can have 3 children and be in all of their lives and still be the man. You can do all of this. And then that's why I stay in shape so much. Because then, oh yeah, but look at you, you're a big guy. No, man.
Right.
I can still stay in the gym. I find time to do anything and everything, and so to say that you don't have time is fake. You're just lying to yourself. You create an excuse. And so that's what I just want to be. That's what I want my life's work to be. And so that's what it's all about.
And that's what you're doing.
Yeah. So
salute, man. Salute. We appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. I appreciate this interview. I love it, man. Thank you for getting the word out there to people.
Oh yeah, no problem. Anytime. I'm going to continue. So I'm going to let you know once like everything is edited, once I, am able to write up the story and everything too. And once it's posted, hopefully in the next, I know that they're not like very fast with it, but definitely I'm telling them, that the book comes out the 7th. So, we got to, try to get it out before then.
Okay, I definitely appreciate that. Thank you again. Thank you for being part of my story now. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem. Honored, honored. All right, wait, can you smile for a screenshot?
Oh, sure. Let me get myself right. You get the microphone out the way.
It's cool. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. All
All
right. Talk
right.
to you
Thank you.
soon. Take care.
All right. Have
Bye
a good
bye.
night. Yep. You
You
too.
too.
Bye.
Bye.